Forget the stars collapsing. That's a predictable funeral. The real existential threat isn't the supernova you can chart and celebrate. It's the silent thing moving at 70,000 miles per hour, completely dark, already through the outer solar system, and you won't know it's there until the Earth's orbit begins to subtly, sickeningly distort. We spend all our time staring into the bright centers of galaxies, fixing our gaze on the supermassive monsters, Sagittarius A, the great luminous beast, calculating its menu, charting its digestion. Wrong focus. That's the Palace Guard. The true predators, the Machiavellian actors of the universe, are always found in the shadows, moving without friction, demanding total obedience without ever issuing a command. They are the wanderers. Rogue black holes. This is not a tale about gravity wells doing what gravity wells are supposed to do. This is a cold, hard look at cosmic power dynamics. The Milky Way, our comfortable, spiraling home, is not a cozy neighborhood. It's a battlefield dominated by entities that have perfected the art of invisible tyranny. True power never announces itself. It simply dictates the terms of existence from the quiet periphery. It takes. It does not ask. NASA confirmed it. They found them. Not the giant static anchors, but the individual stellar mass assassins, ejected from their birth clusters by a violent gravitational pinball game. When 3 or 4 massive stars start dancing, the rules of polite physics break down. Usually, the weakest star gets kicked out. But when the contestants are proto-black holes, the stakes are different. Sometimes, one simply uses the others as a slingshot, achieving escape velocity, moving fast enough, cold enough, to drift alone forever. They become gravitational orphans. They become ghosts of mass. The mathematical projection is horrifying. There are maybe 100 million of these things wandering our galaxy alone. 100 million. Think about that number. 1 for every star cluster? More. They are the statistical nightmares. Dark matter ghosts made real. We are talking about something with the mass of 20 suns compressed into a volume smaller than Manhattan, moving with the momentum of a runaway freight train, emitting 0 light, 0 radio waves, 0 warnings. They do not advertise their presence. That's crucial to understanding their lethality. We have a name for the forces that shape our lives: entropy, momentum, gravity. But underneath those labels lies a profound truth. The universe operates like a cynical power structure. If you find yourself deeply uncomfortable by the implication that the cosmos is not a grand, ordered mechanism, but a cold, calculating machine run by hidden forces, you are exactly the kind of person who needs to understand how the real game is played. If you value truth over the comfortable lie, you belong here. Stick around. We peel back the layers others fear to touch. The great lie of astrophysics is that what we observe is all there is. We call the other 95% dark matter and dark energy, labeling our ignorance. But these rogue holes? These are the tip of a terrifying iceberg. They are visible only by accident, a brief flicker of evidence that we are living in a gravitational minefield. If the black hole passes between us and a distant star, its gravity focuses the light of that star, like a warped cosmic magnifying glass. This event is called microlensing. The background star briefly brightens, then fades. That entire event might last 3 months. 3 months to prove that a stellar mass ruler just sailed invisibly past the orbit of Mars. Now, imagine the implications of this detection method. It requires a perfect alignment, a perfect, fleeting moment of luck. It means for everyone we spot, we miss 10,000. We are essentially catching 1 grain of sand in a hurricane and claiming to understand the beach. These things are everywhere. They are the ultimate gravitational silent partners, dictating the dance of stars we think is stable. They subtly perturb the gas clouds, altering the rates of star formation we thought we understood. They are the unseen hands pushing the dominoes. I assure you, the moment we truly grasp the density of these rogue entities, the way we calculate galactic stability shifted entirely. Stability is an illusion. It is just the time between impacts. And it brings us back to that Machiavellian structure. Why would the most powerful objects choose silence? Because noise alerts the victim. Because anonymity grants perfect freedom of action. The true sign of power is the ability to change everything around you without anyone knowing you were there. That is what a rogue black hole does. It is the perfect cosmic tyrant. It is pure gravitational force, unbound by the need for visibility, untethered by a host galaxy, operating entirely on its own murderous momentum. This is the reality. This is the truth of the void. This isn't just about things being heavy. It is about cosmic paranoia. You look up at the stars, you see stability. You see patterns. But the patterns are a lie constructed around the negative space, the absence of light. We have been staring for centuries at the bright spots, missing the dark infrastructure holding it all together. Rogue black holes explain the galactic rotation curves far more elegantly than some nebulous, non-interacting particle we have yet to find. No exotic physics required. Just simple, crushing gravity, delivered by 1,000 trillion silent stellar corpses. They hide in plain sight. They are the ultimate cosmic misdirection. We chase the visible light. We dismiss the overwhelming gravitational signature as some ethereal dust. It is not dust. It is density. If you are starting to feel a chill about the true emptiness of space, about the sheer crushing weight of the unknown, then congratulations. You are finally seeing reality. You are admitting that the maps are wrong. You are realizing that the comfort of predictability is a fragile deception sustained only because we lack the instrumentation to see the true monsters floating 20 light years away. You can't handle that truth unless you value discovery more than comfort. If you find yourself gravitating toward these hard truths, to the cold, uncomfortable facts the mainstream conveniently ignores, perhaps you belong in this conversation. Perhaps you should stick around. The sheer density of these things means the empty spaces between galaxies aren't empty at all. They are vast, terrifying highways. Highways where these entities, spat out from chaotic primordial clusters or flung free during violent galactic mergers, travel at thousands of kilometers per second. Think about that velocity. This isn't some slow, predictable orbit. This is a bullet traveling across the cosmic shooting range. And we are currently standing squarely in the middle of it. Our solar system is not safe simply because it is far from the galactic center. No, that distance actually exposes us to the crossfire. We are the peripheral target. Rogue black holes are the entropy machines of the universe. They stir the pot. They tear apart globular clusters with surgical precision. They capture stray comets, creating temporary microscopic accretion disks that flash once, perhaps forever unseen by human eyes, before they gulp down the matter and revert to perfect silence. They are proof that mass and energy are separate concepts when it comes to menace. A star announces its presence with light and fire. A black hole announces nothing. It simply removes. You must stop thinking of the void as a vacuum. It is a minefield. A field littered with objects that have the mass of 10 suns, but the size of Manhattan. Do you understand the sheer statistical horror of that? It means the chance of an impact is lower than the chance of a perturbation. We won't necessarily be swallowed. Worse, our solar system might just be nudged. Just enough to throw Neptune's orbit into a slight wobble. Just enough to kick the asteroid belt into a slightly more elliptical path. That tiny deviation, mathematically speaking, is the end of civilization. Everything we rely on, our climate, our seasons, our predictable orbital mechanics, is predicated on the idea that nothing massive is currently changing the inputs. But if the input changes by a fraction of a percent over the next million years, Earth might experience a shift in axial tilt, or maybe even a catastrophic gravitational resonance that sends Jupiter's moons screaming into new, deadly trajectories. Now, here is the kicker, the hidden mechanism that truly breaks our cosmic confidence. We wouldn't see it coming. We wouldn't even know what caused it. We'd observe the climate shifting wildly. We'd watch the outer planets behaving oddly, and we would scratch our heads, inventing dozens of planetary mechanics theories, never once considering the actual culprit. An invisible heavyweight that drifted past 50,000 years ago, left its gravitational fingerprint, and is now millions of light years away, continuing its silent campaign. The crime is committed long before the effects are registered. That is the nature of the rogue. It is the definition of untraceable, long-term decay. The universe is not accelerating its expansion uniformly, as we are taught. Maybe it only looks that way because we are constantly interacting with these dense, kinetic anchors, dragging and warping space-time on localized scales that aggregate into a terrifying, accelerating confusion. The dark energy theory? Perhaps that is just the collective trauma of trillions of these gravitational shadows, the background hum of the truly invisible mass we refuse to account for. Stop believing in ethereal fields. Believe in rock-solid, crushing reality. That is the difference between good science and comforting narrative. If you prefer the comfort, turn this off now. If you want the mechanism, the true understanding of what is driving the stellar chaos we observe, then we must look closer at the birthplace of these monsters, the galactic centers. The moment we try to truly reconcile the scale of the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, Sagittarius A star, with the known population of stellar black holes, the math screams for something far more complex. It screams for more rogue entities. Because you cannot make an omelet without breaking a billion eggs, and you cannot build a galaxy without ejecting most of the debris. And that debris? It's not dust. It's death. That is how the universe maintains balance. Ejection, violence, and silence. Look at SGR-A. That is a cosmic jet engine. It's not passively spinning. It's actively throwing things out. We see the hypervelocity stars, those poor stellar runaways moving at millions of miles an hour, fleeing the gravitational pit. But those are the easy ones. Those are the ones lit up, the ones we can track because they emit light, however dimly. They are the collateral damage of a system that runs too hot. Now stop. Apply the same logic to the objects that don't glow. Apply it to the black holes themselves. They are the heavier artillery. They are the silent, hypervelocity shrapnel. The entire architecture of our central galaxy is predicated on constant, unfathomable violence. A violence that generates speed, not deceleration. You cannot have a mechanism that accelerates hydrogen atoms and fails to accelerate the much, much heavier debris. The mass ratio ensures they get a harder kick. A permanent kick. Think of it this way. We often discuss the slingshot effect in gravity assists for probes, a tiny nudge to reach Jupiter. Now scale that up. Picture two black holes orbiting each other, locked in a brutal duet, when a third, smaller one swings by. It doesn't just pass. It gains kinetic energy exponentially, a fraction of the orbital momentum of the giants transferred directly to it. Instant escape velocity. Gone. The truth is expensive. It costs your settled worldview. If you find clarity in these dark realities, if the depth here feels right, then secure your access to this kind of thinking. Don't let the algorithm decide if you see the next piece of the puzzle. That simple action ensures we continue this deep dive, undisturbed by noise, looking only at the brutal mechanism. Now consider the true demolition derbies, galaxy mergers. This is where the real high-velocity rogue population is minted. When Andromeda smashes into the Milky Way, and it is a smash, not a gentle embrace, the two supermassive black holes at their cores will engage in a gravitational death dance. They don't just politely orbit and merge, they generate waves, gravitational ripples so violently asymmetric that they kick smaller high-mass objects out of the system entirely. Recoil velocities defy comprehension. Hundreds of kilometers per second, thousands. Escape velocity defined by cosmic insanity. These aren't just moving fast for a while. They are gone forever, permanent exiles thrown into the intergalactic void, maintaining that speed across eons. We see evidence of this chaos. Scientists have observed quasars, the active cores of feeding SMBHs, moving at staggering velocities, sometimes appearing to exit their host galaxies entirely. If the supermassive anchors can be nudged, what happens to their much smaller children? They get flung like stones from a medieval catapult, their trajectories aimed squarely at the next system, the next spiral arm, the next unsuspecting stellar nursery. The cosmos is not built on gentle flows. It is built on instantaneous ejection and kinetic decay. That is the core mechanism. It's not subtle. It's brute force masked only by vast, indifferent distance. But the fingerprint remains. The density difference is the key. The rogue black hole, unlike a neutron star or a Jupiter-mass brown dwarf, does not occupy significant space. It is a point mass. So its gravitational influence does not dissipate quickly through drag or interaction with surrounding stellar winds. It cuts through the vacuum like a razor blade. It's pure, focused gravity, moving at relativistic speeds, a perfect, undetectable missile. We should stop looking for light. We need to start mapping the shadows, tracking the tiny, inexplicable wobbles in planetary orbital periods, the sudden localized shifts in galactic rotation curves that defy standard dark matter models. Dark matter, by definition, is supposed to be smoothly distributed, a halo. Rogues are pinpoints. They are localized events. If you see a cluster of anomalies grouped together, a temporary hotspot of gravitational chaos, it is far more rational to assume a high-mass, compact object passed through there recently than to invent a non-interacting hypothetical particle that just happened to clump up for no reason. Our models are too clean. They ignore the essential grit, the shrapnel created every time two galaxies make love and war. That war is eternal. We are living in the crossfire. The truth is, the universe hasn't simply accelerated. It is under constant, silent, physical attack by the ghosts of dead stars. The universe is not benign. Stop believing that comforting lie. If you think the laws of physics favor equilibrium, you haven't understood the fundamental Machiavellian dynamic of mass. Order is just the temporary truce declared by the largest participants before the next feeding frenzy. We look out and see stately spirals, elegant elliptic paths, but we are mistaking the battleground for a ballet. The reality is that the only law that matters is that power, massive, focused power, will always exert its will upon the less powerful, and it will do so ruthlessly, without leaving a paper trail. These rogue black holes are the ultimate cosmic treachery, the evidence that the hidden governance of the universe operates on brutal self-interest. They are the universe's hitmen, silent, undetectable. You think you live in a predictable Newtonian garden, safe under the watchful benign eye of universal constants. Absolute nonsense. That perception of cosmic order is merely the time gap between attacks, the moment before the rogue blade cuts the established rotational curve of your local group. It is the moment before the hammer drops. You have to grasp the sheer, cold violence that birthed them. When two giants, two massive galaxies merge, the supermassive black holes at their cores often engage in a dizzying orbital dance, a gravitational mosh pit of unimaginable energy. The transfer of kinetic energy is not gentle, it is explosive. Sometimes the orbital mechanics align in such a way that one SMBH gains a sudden, immense momentum boost. A slingshot effect so violent it exceeds the escape velocity of the new, merged galaxy. That object is now loose. It is now weaponized. Now multiply that event by the trillions of galactic mergers that have happened since the Big Bang, and you realize the night sky isn't empty space. It's a shooting range filled with silent, invisible cannonballs. Now think about the smaller ones. Stellar mass black holes, maybe 10 or 50 times the mass of our sun. These are the sacrificial lambs. When a galactic center is tidally ripped apart, or when one of these larger rogue SMBHs passes through a star cluster, the stellar mass holes are the first to be ejected. They are used as gravitational shields and projectiles, disposable assets in the massive system's power struggle. They get tossed out, moving slower than their monstrous progenitors, but still moving fast enough to traverse interstellar and even intergalactic space, crossing distances measured in millions of light years. They are survivors carrying kinetic trauma, ready to inflict it upon the next system they encounter. This is the true danger. The system that created them is entirely indifferent to their fate or to ours. The Machiavellian universe rewards the power that can successfully externalize its costs. The cost here is localized chaos imposed on distant, smaller systems. That rogue black hole isn't merely passing through. It is subtly redefining the orbits of everything in its path, stealing energy, tightening bonds here, shattering stability there. How do we find the ultimate covert agent? We look for the impossible blink. We should be devoting vast computational power not to searching for distant radio chatter, but to meticulous, continuous tracking of gravitational microlensing events that defy stellar explanation. Gravitational lensing happens when a massive object passes between us and a background star, briefly magnifying the star's light. Most of these events are caused by ordinary, albeit dim, stars or brown dwarfs. They have predictable light curve shapes, usually lasting days or weeks. But the rogue black hole, being a true point mass, compresses that event dramatically. It might last only hours. It might spike the light curve to a magnification level inconsistent with any visible star. A brief, violent flash, statistically improbable, geographically isolated, gone before the conventional models can even register the anomaly. That fleeting spike is the shadow screaming. You need to discard the academic comfort of smooth, homogeneous dark matter. It's an easy answer, a mathematical placeholder for our ignorance. I tell you, rogue black holes are the non-interacting mass we are looking for. They account for the gravitational anomaly in specific locales without polluting the entire cosmos with undetectable particles. Why invent a ghost particle when you have a proven mechanism for creating actual, compact gravitational ghosts? We are not seeing a uniform halo of invisible fluff. We are seeing the cumulative effect of countless localized shoves from objects we refuse to look for because they don't produce pretty spectra. We need to stop romanticizing the cosmos as a well-oiled machine. It's a battlefield governed by the law of the projectile. And you, watching this right now, your very solar system, is an innocent bystander walking across the firing line. The only defense is recognition. The universe is not accelerating evenly. It is vibrating with the silent footsteps of its deadliest predators. They are here, and they decide the rules. They don't announce themselves. They just are. They are the reason our cosmological models scream in pain whenever we look too closely at the subtle structure of dwarf galaxies, or the bizarre kinematics inside globular clusters. Think about M4, that glittering orb of ancient stars. Textbooks call the elongated, unnatural stretch of its core a tidal distortion caused by the Milky Way's mass. It's an easy out, a comforting lie. The reality is that M4 looks like a stellar train wreck because it recently survived a close encounter with a galactic thug, an intermediate mass black hole, perhaps hundreds or thousands of solar masses, moving stealthily through the dark. You see the debris. You never see the weapon. We do the same dishonest math with hypervelocity stars. Look at ZO437 5439, screaming away from the Milky Way at an impossible 723 kilometers per second. The official story? A perfect, elegant slingshot from the supermassive black hole at our galactic center. Neat. Too neat. I want to know this. Did we see that precise interaction? Did we model the four-body orbital mechanics required for that specific trajectory? No. We saw the victim. We measured the bullet's speed and immediately pinned the crime on the largest, most obvious suspect far away. The truth is that star became a projectile because something much closer, something silent and unlit, kicked it out of the system years ago. We are assuming the weapon is where the lights are brightest, the galactic core. Maybe the weapon was hiding in the dark suburbs of the galaxy, a rogue PBH that decided to reshuffle the local stellar architecture without asking permission. That makes every patch of empty space a threat vector. This isn't theory for a PhD thesis. This is orbital physics applied to survival. If you are the kind of mind that needs to know the true structure of the cage, not just the painted version they sell you, you belong on this frequency. This is where the uncomfortable questions live. The entire cosmology community is currently searching for a dim flicker of X-rays, the signature of a black hole dragging gas around it. They wait for a star to be ripped to shreds, a violent, undeniable explosion of light. They are looking for the sound of the gunshot. Idiots. The most dangerous black holes, the truly rogue ones, the ones that make up the vast majority of non-interacting mass. travel through pure vacuum. They are clean, they are silent, they don't interact with electromagnetism at all. They are gravity made manifest, a cold, hard dent in space-time traveling at thousands of kilometers per second. Their danger isn't that they swallow a planet. Their danger is orbital mechanics. They shift the balance. They adjust the dial. They are the ultimate gravitational cue ball, deflecting the long-term orbits of Oort cloud objects, sending comets, which are essentially frozen dirty bombs, hurtling inward toward the inner solar system, toward us. This isn't theoretical deep time either. This is an immediate, stochastic threat to the planet's atmospheric integrity. We assume the asteroid threat is random. We assume the cometary stream is stable. We assume. It is arrogant. The dark mass is not a halo. It is a bombardment. It is a slow, silent rain of high-density projectiles that occasionally nick the outer defenses of the galaxy and trigger extinction events on planetary surfaces millennia later. We are focusing telescopes on the glow of distant galaxies while the silent shoves that determine our fate are happening in the darkness between stars right next door. Stop looking for the flash. Look for the wake. Look for the subtle, violent bending of light that happens too fast, is too bright, and lasts for only a few terrifying hours. The universe is not stable. It is not predictable. It is a dense, high-stakes game of pool played by invisible hands. And the biggest lie science ever told us was that we were safe in the vacuum of space. We are not safe. We are targets. The evidence is right there in the elliptical stretch of the nearest star cluster. We just refuse to see the hand that did the stretching. The scientific establishment doesn't want to find rogue black holes. That's the dirty secret. They desperately do not want to confirm the statistical inevitability of dark matter projectiles hitting our gravitational field, because the moment they confirm it, the illusion of control evaporates entirely. They can sell grants and hope based on the slow-motion car crash of a distant gamma-ray burst. They can't sell anything against a universal architecture that makes us insignificant. They can't fund a defense system against pure gravity. It's an existential problem with no technological solution. Therefore, the problem is quietly designated as too theoretical, too fringe, or simply too dark. We are witnessing a calculated institutional cowardice masquerading as cautious empiricism. It's a power play. They maintain authority by defining what constitutes a manageable threat. If a threat is unmanageable, it ceases to exist, at least on the front page of the major journals. You think this is paranoia? It is simply the Machiavellian reality of funding. They prefer the lie of stability because stability means continued funding, continued prestige, and continued comfortable ignorance. The cosmos is not built on comfort. It's built on brutal, unyielding mechanics. This isn't just about rogue black holes punching holes in the fabric of space. This is about fate being written by gravitational influence we refuse to measure. We look up at the stars and see history. We see distant, beautiful light. We see the ghosts of collisions that happened millions of years ago, a stat postcard of a universe that used to be violent. But the forces that will actually kill us, the mechanisms that will wipe the slate clean, are happening right now, in the silence between the stars we choose to define as empty space. It is never empty. It is always loaded. The real game isn't played with electromagnetism. It's played with mass and speed. It's a gravitational sniper duel, and we are standing precisely where the bullet will be deflected millennia from now. The verdict, then, is simple, brutally so. We are not passively orbiting a sun. We are currently surfing the shockwave of a cosmological demolition derby that began long before Earth existed. The great discovery of our age won't be finding life on an exoplanet. The great, terrifying discovery will be accurately mapping the gravitational density of our own local group, finding the massive, invisible travelers that are slowly, inexorably, tightening the noose on our orbital stability. You will not hear the danger coming. You will only see the effect too late, when the frozen debris of the Oort cloud finally darkens the sky. Never trust silence. It means the mechanism is already engaged. It means the hammer has already dropped. This is where the scientific community fundamentally fails us. They have mistaken observation for comprehension. They confuse the data they can collect with the full scope of reality. They look at the small, measurable risks, the minor asteroid fields, the predicted solar flares, and declare the sky safe for navigation. But the truth, the core, terrifying secret, is that the cosmic economy operates on principles entirely outside the domain of observable light. It runs on gravity, on the relentless accrual of mass, on forces so slow and so distant they are functionally invisible to any telescope aimed at immediate impact. The greatest danger is never the thing currently rushing toward you. It's the titanic, slow-moving object that warped your entire trajectory 3,000 years ago and is now merely delivering the inevitable consequence. The verdict, therefore, is not about science. It's about institutional hubris. It's about the fatal flaw baked into the scientific power structure. They cannot admit ignorance. They cannot admit that the most consequential threats are unquantifiable, because if they cannot quantify it, they cannot manage it. If they cannot manage it, they lose the narrative. They lose the funding. They lose the control. They have willingly erected a facade of statistical certainty around a universe that is fundamentally random, dark, and utterly indifferent to human metrics. They prefer the soft betrayal of manageable risk to the paralyzing honesty of existential inevitability. They have made a calculated decision to keep you calm and compliant, while the very orbital plane we rely upon is being slowly, silently tilted by gravitational pressures they dare not acknowledge. We are not victims of the cosmos. We are victims of a comfortable lie. They told you stability was the norm. They assured you the great clockwork of the solar system was a perfect, self-correcting machine. Never believe it. Perfection is a human construct, reserved only for lies. The universe is messy, chaotic, and brutal, governed by unseen weights and unimaginable speeds. The reality is this: we are already past the point of no return. The gravitational mechanism is already in motion. The massive object, the cosmic traveler that will shatter the Oort cloud and send us 1,000 years of frozen doom, has already passed its defining perihelion. We are simply waiting for the delivery. They do not report it because to report it would be to admit their models are worthless, their safety assurances fraudulent, and their authority irrelevant. They will keep mapping minor comets, adjusting minor orbital variables, while the gravitational tides surge beneath their calculations. They will not tell you the truth until the first lethal debris darkens the sky and renders all their careful, curated data utterly moot. Sleep well, knowing the silence isn't peace. It's the sound of the ultimate weapon traveling through the deep vacuum,